What is going on, guys? Welcome to episode 55 of our Cincinnati Reds franchise. Today we got spring training action, game number 2. We're not going to be doing all the games in spring training. That's simply because it's going to take us forever to get through the 2020 season. So, talked about the Colorado Rockies last episode, so last week. We're kind of previewing this team and kind of what they looked like on paper and seeing how they were going to perform this season. So we got Luis Castillo here on the mound, striking out DJ LeMahieu in his first at-bat, first hitter he's going to face here in today's game, and that's a pretty good start. I mean, Luis Castillo had a lot of strikeouts, over 200 last season, which is obviously a good benchmark for a starting pitcher in any season, of course. And now we've got Nolan Arenado here grounding out to Senzel, back over to Defoe to Pavin Smith to complete the double play. So the first inning goes scoreless. Rockies with 1 hit on the inning. So I like what I could see there out of that defense. We're playing the backups here today. So we got Taylor Trammell getting a start in center field. We got Defoe here at second base. And we got Tyler Anderson for the Rockies. And he's got that little stutter step going on, a little Clayton Kershaw-esque type of thing going on there. And Kyle Freeland, the other left-handed pitcher for the Colorado Rockies, has sort of the same type of delivery. That little hesitation kind of throws your timing off. But we can see here that Defoe gets a base hit, well, off of an error, I should say, so not a base hit. And then we get Senzel getting a base hit there to right. And then Aristides Aquino coming up here playing right field is going to hit a long, high fly ball out there to center field, but David Dahl is going to camp underneath it to make that play. So the Reds can't scratch across any runs after getting some pretty good solid contact on Tyler Anderson to start us off. So here's Carlos Gonzalez getting a slider or a two-seam fastball that just hung right down the middle of the plate, and he's going to deposit this one into right center field for a 413-foot shot. And, you know, this happens. Luis Castillo, even in real life, he does give up the home run, so he is susceptible to the long ball, but he does get a lot of strikeouts, which is kind of his MO. But here's a ground ball, and Pavin Smith completes the out there at first base. So second inning is completed. Dilson Herrera coming up here, going to strike out. So Anderson already has 2 strikeouts thus far in this game, and I think it's got something to do with that little stutter step, guys. We just could not figure him out thus far in this game. Here's Phillip Ervin going to pop out, and that's third base Nolan Arenado making the play. Rockies dugout loves it. So we're actually going to go ahead and turn now to potentially the number 5 starter for your Reds this season, Tyler Mahle, who really turned it on there late last season and in the playoffs. And I think he really earned that right. And I think right now he's the de facto number 5 starter to start 2020. But, you know, the job's up for grabs. And really, any job is up for grabs. That's how you got to operate. So we can see here David Dahl going to strike out. And honestly, he looks pretty good. Like he didn't even miss a single step from last playoff. So we're actually going to go ahead and pinch hit for Tyler Mahle. So he's going to only pitch 1 inning. For Jose Peraza, got to get him some playing time. So we're actually going to move him over to shortstop to take over Nick Senzel's spot. He did play a full 9 innings in the last game. So now he's going to actually, you know, just play a couple innings here, get some time off, and start getting some other guys some playing time. Defoe up to bat after a Trammell strikeout. It was a changeup. It was a pretty nice pitch, honestly. A changeup low and away, just couldn't really do too much with it. So Defoe's going to ground out as well. So then we're going to go with Ryan Yarbrough, a guy that we traded for depth for our playoff run last season. And he didn't really make an impact with us because there was really no need to. And we can see here Nolan Arenado is going to stretch this into a double. You know, Aquino actually made a pretty great throw from right field. Actually, it was more like right center field. And honestly, if the buttons didn't stick, I think that he would have had him, honestly, because we can see that happens here again. The buttons kind of stick and only gets the one arrow instead of all 4. And I think if Aquino had that going for him, we would definitely be seeing an out at second base. And we can see here a ground ball back to Dilson Herrera at third base is going to get a run scored. So Arenado gets another RBI, and Gerardo Parra is going to ground out to Pavin Smith. So Yarbrough, you know, wasn't that bad of an inning. and he's actually going to keep continuing on. Here we are in the 4th inning, I believe, or the 5th inning. We're in the top of the 5th. Yes, that's the top of the 5th, and Ryan McMahon is going to swing and a miss here. It should be 0-2, as Doug Brocail was really complaining about that first pitch, and then foul ball here on a pitch that kind of caught a little bit too much of the inside part, and then we see a slider that just hangs. And guys, this is the kind of stuff that if you're Ryan Yarbrough, you have to be able to, you gotta be able to feel it out, right? I mean, a guy almost took you deep, pulled it foul. Don't throw the same pitch. You can't do that. And then obviously, this is a good sign that he's striking out John Gray, who was actually now coming into relief for Tyler Anderson. And then we got David Dahl here striking out on a sinker. So this inning is over. And you know, I'm impressed with Ryan Yarbrough right now, especially with this Rockies lineup that's, you know, boasting a pretty good offensive unit. I think that he's pitching pretty well, so I think that he's going to deserve some time in AAA, and we'll just see how he progresses. He might earn more of a spot start here in the regular season if pending injuries or things like that, even in the bullpen. But we can see here that we do get a base hit up the middle by Jose Peraza, and then Taylor Trammell going to fly out to center field. And that's kind of been the story thus far here through 5 innings, is that the Reds have gotten runners in scoring position and runners on base in general, and we're just not able to capitalize because some of our deep shots haven't been deep enough. And that's something that, you know, as a backup crew, we don't have Suarez, we don't have Jeanette today, we don't have Schebler or Votto. You know, that stuff's going to happen. So we'll just have to see how this plays out, because right now Daniel Wright's coming on in here, and we're going to need the offense to pick us up here because it's not looking too good here in the top of the 6th. We see a ground ball by Carlos Gonzalez. We're going to intentionally walk Gerardo Parra to load the bases, potentially get a double play. You can get a force out at home, throw to first, anything like that. But we do have Ryan McMahon coming up to bat here, and Herrera and Peraza both cannot get to this ball here in the 5-5 hole, and Phillip Ervin just not going to get an accurate throw off to home, and it's going to be 5-0 here. And now we get a fly ball out there with 1 down, and Aquino camps under this one, makes a strong throw back in, and Defoe with the corral. Still 5-0. But this guy, Dom Nunez, a pinch hitter, is going to get struck out. So guys, suspense killer, right? It's still going to be 5-0. Reds offense still cannot get anything done. Zach Weiss comes on in to relieve Daniel Wright, and Taylor Trammell is not even like trying with that. I mean, this was a deep solo shot for a pinch hit home run by Ian Desmond. That's a guy that you don't want to make mistakes to. So he's going to get that to be a home run. We got a fly ball out to center field. Inning over. So all things considered, it's just like the title says, it's been death by the long ball in this game. And then we see that we have a runner here on third base here in the top of the 7th or the 8th. I still have a hard time seeing that, guys, but you know, Weiss is still out there, gets an RBI against him. Luckily, though, damage is limited here. I guess you would call it, even though it's 7-0. There's just really nothing we can do right now. We haven't been able to solve Rockies pitching. We haven't been able to stop them from killing us with the home run. We see Taylor Trammell up here trying to do his best to give his guys a chance, keep fighting off some really tough pitches, wait for your pitch and do some damage with it. 2-1 count, 7 pitches in, and here's a little lifting fly ball out there to left field. Gonna make the play is Dom Nunez, and honestly, it's like we were just talking about before. A lot of deep shots, but just can't get it past these outfielders. And we see kind of an unlucky stab right there. Well, lucky stab for the pitcher, but unlucky for Defoe, as you know, he hit that thing pretty hard. That should have been a base hit 8 times out of 10, but just that's the way that we've been rolling today, is that we just have not gotten any breaks. So here's Leclerc. Sam Leclerc actually pitched really well for us last season as a Rule Number 5 pick. I think he earned his spot to be with us for 2020 as a big-time relief option. So getting that strikeout, getting some ground balls. You know, he pitched really well that inning. I like what I see out of him. Maybe we can actually get some more production in the next few weeks here. But we can see that A.J. Pollock coming on, Pavin Smith, fly ball out there to center field, and then we get Aristides Aquino striking out. So there you go, guys. So the Rockies finish off the Reds 7-0 in today's preseason spring training action. And we're going to be doing some more simulation going forward to just try to get this spring training done. I'll probably do one more spring training video just so I can like wrap up with you guys what the American League teams look like, get a little scouting report on them, and then we'll get right into the regular season. I know that the Reds franchise series right now has been a little bit slow, but I mean, you can't blame me, right? We won a World Series already, and you know, going forward, baseball is pretty much done. So let's go talk about the NL East right now. All right, guys, so as promised, here is the Atlanta Braves and the NL East, of course. We're going to be reviewing this team and seeing exactly what they have going for them and what are some of their weaknesses. So we got Freddie Freeman here at 30 years old, so he's officially turned the corner. He's now into his 30s, and he's been putting up some pretty dang good numbers over the course of his career. I like Freddie Freeman this year. I think that, especially with this Braves offense, he could definitely do a lot of damage. We got Ozzie at an 89, Ender Inciarte at 90. So that might be his ceiling because he is a B potential, but still a very good fielder out there, pretty quick. So he can do a lot of things. Ronald Acuna at 22 years old, like he's definitely going to be a stud. They signed Felix Hernandez to shore up that pitching staff. Julio Teheran. Dansby Swanson's pretty solid at an 83. Sean Newcomb. They got Nick Castellanos out there in right field. Not sure where they're going to put him. Let's see if they're actually going to put him in right field or not. And it looks like they don't really have a choice. So it's Acuna, Inciarte, Castellanos, Chad Pinder. I've always been a fan of Chad Pinder's. Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley. We got Ozzie Albies. Yeah, this team's pretty solid. They got a lot of good things going for them, for sure. And when we look at the pitching staff, they got Felix, Julio, Sean Newcomb, Luis Gohara, and Mike Foltynewicz, with Kyle Wright and Lucas Sims being the other guys up. You know, they're going to be a pretty good team, so watch out for them. But then when we look at the Miami Marlins, it's still kind of bad. We got Trevor Rogers, Jay Groom, Shelby Miller. This is probably not going to cut it, honestly. Just really not going to cut it. The bullpen isn't too bad. Barraclaw, Steckenrider. I mean, this bullpen has some pretty nasty stuff, especially with Barraclaw. He's definitely, I mean, you can see it right there, the 99 break. Steckenrider's got that heavy dose of that fastball. JT Realmuto is probably one of their best players. Justin Bour, Kelby Tomlinson is their starting second baseman. Chesler Cuthbert. Yeah, JT Riddle. This is not going to be a very good team, guys. Not in the slightest. Alex Dickerson, Brett Gardner, Brinson is probably their best. It's probably their best player, up and coming type of player on offense. Yeah, do not expect anything out of the Miami Marlins. Looking at the Washington Nationals, though, going to be a pretty stacked team yet again in the National League. Manny Machado leads the way with Max Scherzer, Strasburg, Rendon. Rendon's got to be nearing the end of his contract. Oh, no. You have 4 more seasons for Anthony Rendon. Brandon Morrow they just signed. Daniel Murphy's still here. You know, Ryan Zimmerman. This team is old. This team is definitely very, very old. They signed Alex Wood in the free agent period. Joe Ross is up and coming. Yeah, I mean, Trey Turner's down to a 79. It's pretty tough. But, you know, you can see why. He hit 216 last year with only 8 home runs. So that's not very good numbers for Trey Turner. Jesse Hahn, Ben Gamel, Brian Goodwin. So, I mean, this team is kind of balanced. They're old where they have to be, and experienced, and they're young where they have to be. You know, Trey Turner right here, Joe Ross. They need another pitcher that's young, and I don't think that they really have that. I mean, they got Victor Robles in center field. Let's go ahead and take a look at the New York Mets. Now, this is a team that has some pretty young pitching, I would like to think. I mean, look at what we got here. We got Steven Matz at 28, Syndergaard's 27. This guy, Herb Harris, at 23, 77 overall. Gregorio Padilla at 69. So obviously your starting 5 is going to stop at Julius Chassin. Nothing wrong with that, especially when you have an ace like Noah Syndergaard. This kind of looks like how our pitching staff looked like when I took over the team, right? You had Luis Castillo that was kind of hovering around that 90. We didn't really have a top guy like DeGrom, like a high 87, but it had like that middle 80, like a Steven Matz, and then everybody else was, mid 70s, low 70s. So obviously the Mets have some things going for them with the pitching staff, but it's the offense that really needs to come through. We got Anthony Swarzak, AJ Ramos, Hanzo Robles, Sewald. Sewald isn't too bad himself. Henry Mejia. This is not going to be too bad of a bullpen. That'll get the job done. Then we got Juris Familia at closing, Brian McCann, and Tyler Flowers, and Travis d'Arnaud. Interesting 1-2-3 punch here at the catcher position for the Mets. We got Carlos Santana, Matt Adams at first base, Alan Hansen. This is an interesting team, to say the least. It's an odd collection of characters here. Wilmer Flores, Todd Frazier, Ahmed Rosario, Gavin Cecchini. Still, for whatever reason, just cannot figure his hitting out, guys. He's 70 overall, A potential. He's always rated very highly in MLB The Show games for whatever reason. And then we got Royce Lewis, shortstop, young guy. Yoenis Cespedes, Brandon Nimmo, and Bryce Brentz. And he was actually, and there's Patrick Kivlehan, former Red, that was in our organization. But Bryce Brentz, I think he was a Boston Red Sox. Yes, he was. I think he's going to be the starter out there in right field unless they want to put this guy like Desmond Lindsay out there, or Ali Keisler, Zach Borenstein, Arizona Diamondback. I believe that's where he was from originally. And then of course we got Tim Tebow all there down in the single A level. Kevin Taylor, 55, bringing up the rear. So this team has some things going for them, but nothing really, I think, to set them apart from like the division winners, who I think is going to win the division in the NL East is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies here. Rhys Hoskins, 88. Jake Arrieta, 86. Nola, J.P. Crawford, Vince Velasquez, Franco, Edubray, Ramos, Luis Garcia. I mean, this team is relatively young to the rest of the league. Especially right here, Velasquez, Franco, Ben Lively. You got Jose Torres, J.P. Crawford. Not young, but Josh Harrison in there. Aaron Nola, Rhys Hoskins. Like, this is a young baseball team. I almost said football team because I'm like in my Cincinnati Bengals mode here. But Nick Pivetta, it's pretty decent pitching staff. Relievers are really good. I like what they're doing with the relief pitching. Hector Neris at closing. Andrew Knapp catching. Lucas Duda. This is all or nothing type of first baseman here. You're swinging for the fences. Duda, Carter, Josh Harrison, and Scott Kingery at second base. Franco, Jurickson Profar backing up J.P. Crawford, Rhys Hoskins, Tapia. I like Ramel Tapia. I think he's more of a defender than a hitter, though. Nick Williams is pretty solid, and then Jay Bruce. I think this team or the Atlanta Braves look like they're going to be the winners here. I want to pick the Nationals, but with some of these guys getting a little bit older here, the more likely some injuries are going to take place. So that's kind of where I stand on the whole NL East. So in the next episode, guys, we're going to cover the entire American League, and that's going to be a nice little quick rundown of those teams, not by division, but just basically one video that's going to cover all the teams, kind of give them a little bit of a preview, and see where the rest of the league is at, because we got to get through spring training and into actual regular season. We got a lot to do for 2020 and possibly 2021. So guys, that's gonna be it for this episode. Leave a like if you like this thing, and if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that red button for subscribe or my logo in the bottom right hand corner. And I will see you guys in the next one on Friday. As always, peace.